Have you ever wondered why lately people seem to hold their gaze on you just a little longer? There are strange moments when you walk into a room and the atmosphere seems to pause. Conversations stop mid-sentence, words vanish, and for a fleeting moment, all attention seems to revolve around you. You feel a bit confused, even thinking to yourself, I haven't really changed. It's still the same face, the same steps, but deep in your heart, you know something is different. A new current is flowing. An invisible light surrounds you, and the world can no longer ignore it. This is not random. This is not something you created on your own. This is a divine work. When God decides to lift you up, no force can stop it, not even the doubt in your own mind. Psalm 25-14 says, "The Lord confides in those who fear him. He makes his covenant known to them." And now, you are the living proof of that promise. This transformation is not about your appearance. It's not about your clothes, your hair, or a well-practiced smile. What's happening is a shift from within the soul. Others can sense it, even if they don't know what to call it. They just know your presence makes them feel something unfamiliar, yet strangely familiar. Something that inspires, but also unsettles them. Some see you and feel light, like a long sleeping fire has been reignited inside them. But others, standing before you, feel their hearts tremble, because your light accidentally reveals the darkness they have yet to face. Whether they admire it or feel discomfort, one thing is certain, they cannot ignore you. Isn't it miraculous? You, the one who once thought you were nothing special, have become a mirror for the Creator's plan. Imagine a tiny seed, buried in the dark, seemingly forgotten. Then, at the appointed time, sunlight breaks through the soil and awakens life. The seed rises, becoming a tender green shoot. Passers-by stop in wonder, not understanding how something so fragile could bloom with such strength. You are that seed. The light you carry is not your own. It comes from the source who breathed life into you. Maybe you once felt invisible, thinking, I'm no different than anyone else. But then one day, you realize you were called to live a different kind of life. Not just to survive, but to shine. They say it takes 7 seconds to make a first impression. But what you carry goes far beyond impressions. It is not just an impression, it is a presence. Before you speak, before you reach out your hand, your soul has already spoken. Sometimes, even in silence, your stillness echoes louder than 1,000 words. You don't have to prove anything, because the peace within you makes people pause and wonder, how can they be so calm in such a chaotic world? That is grace. That is the mark of being chosen. But let's be honest, sometimes this attention makes you uneasy. You don't understand why your presence seems to shift the atmosphere. At times you wonder, am I imagining this? But remember, what comes from God is never a fantasy. Just like a lamp placed high cannot hide its light, you cannot hide the transformation bursting within you. If today you feel this change happening, believe it is the beginning of a new covenant. God didn't just touch your life so you could change for yourself, but so you could become living proof of His love and power. Pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the breath filling your chest. You are alive. You are here. Because there is still a purpose not yet fulfilled. You are not a coincidence. You are part of a greater story, written by the hands of the Creator. Every step you take, every glance, every smile now carries sacred weight. Others might not understand. They may speculate, or even mock. But the truth is, they feel it too, and they cannot deny the light radiating from you. So, what will you do with that light? Will you hide it to please others, or will you let it shine bright, casting light into the dark corners and guiding lost souls? Remember, light was never meant to be hidden under a bed. It was meant to be placed high, to shine. And so is the light within you. Do not fear. Do not hold back. Do not think you are not ready. Right now, as you hear these words, you are standing in the moment God has prepared for you. As we close this first chapter, hold this image in your mind. You are standing on a long path, and ahead of you is a gate made of light. This gate is not locked, not closed. It is simply waiting for you to step through. On the other side is a new journey, where your presence will no longer be hidden, but will become a guiding flame. And when you dare to step forward, the entire universe seems to rise in harmony, whispering, yes, this is the moment. Nothing is by chance. You are here, hearing these words, because you have been chosen, and the journey is only just beginning. You have stepped through that gate of light, and from that very moment, everything seems to have shifted. The world may look at you differently, but the real transformation isn't in them. It is in you. It's not your clothes, not the way you walk, nor how you smile or speak. All those outer layers are just a fragile shell. What is truly creating the change is what radiates from within. A gentle yet powerful light, calm yet undeniable. Some call it a glow, others call it the X factor, but you know better. This is not something man can manufacture. This is the result of a divine process. When a soul is touched by the hand of the Creator, it begins to shine. And that light is not something painted on or practiced. It is the brilliance of a soul that has found its true source of life. There is a verse in Psalm 34:5 that says, "Those who look to Him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame." That verse now feels written just for you. When your soul turns toward the source of light, no longer hiding or locking itself in the shadows, a miraculous transformation unfolds. Your face, your eyes, even your silence now carry a kind of brightness that words can't fully describe. It's not a blinding or showy light, but one that brings peace simply through your presence. A kind of light that needs no words, yet reaches deep into the hearts of anyone it touches. And have you noticed? That light is not always easy for others to receive. Some will see it as an invitation, a hand reaching out to pull them from the old and into something new. But others may feel discomfort because your light shines into corners they are not yet ready to face. You become a mirror reflecting truths they've long buried. They may avoid you, label you, or say you're just too different. But deep down, they know the light is real. That's why they can't fully turn away. The attraction you carry now no longer comes from physical form or facial features. It no longer depends on society's changing standards. This light comes from the peace and faith that God has placed within you. It's like a lantern, burning in the dark, not loud, not flashy, but impossible to ignore. People are drawn to you. Sometimes they don't even know why. They try to explain it with words like aura, confidence, or positive energy. But you know it's more than that. It is inner light. It is life itself burning bright within a soul that has been touched. This light isn't about perfection. It's not a sign that you no longer feel weak or make mistakes. In fact, it was in the very depths of your wounds and struggles that God planted the light. Just as glass is made from sand and fire, your soul has been refined through trials and tears, and the result is a radiance that cannot be imitated. Others may try to cover themselves in makeup or fine clothes, but they cannot recreate the glow that comes from a soul that has walked through darkness and now stands firm in the love of God. Do you remember the last time you looked in the mirror and saw someone different than before? Maybe it wasn't a physical change, but a new feeling, a deeper gaze, a quieter strength, no longer shaken like before. That was the moment you began to recognize the light within rising, not because you suddenly became more attractive by the world's standards, but because you became magnetic, in a way that defies explanation. You became a living witness to a beauty that does not fade with time. That's why, even when you don't try to be noticed, you are. Even when you don't seek love, it finds you. Because that light doesn't just belong to you, it flows through you, from the one who chose you. Your presence, your every step, every smile becomes a silent message. I belong to something greater. And others, whether they understand it or not, recognize the truth in that. I want you to pause and think about the recent moments when someone looked at you a little longer, when a stranger suddenly opened their heart to share something personal, or when the atmosphere in a room shifted simply because you were there. Do you think that's just coincidence? Or are you beginning to see the sacred light at work? Nothing about this is random. God has chosen the time. And when He opens the gate, the light within you can no longer be contained. You may not be used to it yet. You may feel you're not strong enough, not good enough to carry such a light. But remember, light has never depended on the lamp. The lamp is only the vessel. It's the light that matters. And the light in you was not made by you. It was placed there by God. That means you don't have to be worthy by the world's standards. You simply need to let the light shine, because it was never just for you. This also means the light will challenge you. It will change some relationships. Some people will walk away, others will draw closer. It will make you choose at times between staying true to your light or dimming yourself to please others. But in those moments, remember Psalm 34:5. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. You don't need to hide. You don't need to prove anything. The light is already there, and it will lead you forward. And so, the journey has just begun. You are learning how to live with this light, not just for your own path, but to guide others as well. Earlier, you stood before the gate of light. Now, you have stepped through. And with every step you take, the light within you becomes clearer, turning you into a living testimony of a divine plan. Others may not understand it, but they will feel it. And that, right there, is the beginning of a new season in your life. The light within you is not just beauty. It carries weight. It carries a calling. Because light is only the beginning, but purpose is the destination. When you start walking in alignment with the Creator's intent, the energy within you shifts. It no longer feels the same. It becomes something difficult to define, yet impossible to ignore. A magnetic pull that everyone can sense. A gravity that turns heads. You see, many people live just to survive, to get through the day, to meet society's expectations. But when you step into your purpose, you no longer live just to make it through. Every step suddenly carries meaning. Every word holds weight. Every action, no matter how small, creates ripples that spread far. Some call this the power of purpose. And that is exactly what's happening in you right now. You're no longer just a light standing still. You've become a flowing river. This energy isn't loud. It doesn't boast, but its reach is undeniable. You walk into a room and people feel it instantly. They don't know what to call it. Is it confidence? Is it presence? Is it calm strength? Or some mysterious X factor? But you understand, it's the result of living in the purpose God designed for you. When purpose awakens the soul, you no longer wander aimlessly. Things begin to feel clearer. The path becomes wider. And that clarity radiates through you so strongly that others stop in their tracks. They see focus in you. They see certainty. They sense a peace they long for, but don't know where to find. And like moths drawn to flame, they are pulled toward you. Not because you are the center, but because you reflect the true center, the will of the Creator. What's remarkable is you don't have to try to attract anyone. You don't need to promote yourself. You don't need to prove how capable you are. You don't need to fight for attention. The energy of purpose is its own invitation, silent, yet powerful. People feel safe around you. They feel uplifted when you speak. They feel hope just by watching you live. And sometimes, even when you are silent, your silence speaks louder than 1,000 eloquent words. But this also means your energy will stir what is still asleep in others. Some will feel inspired. They will rise up, ready to walk beside you. But others may feel unsettled because the clarity in you reflects the confusion in them. Your courage reminds them of their hesitation. Your aliveness makes them remember dreams they once buried. And sometimes, that discomfort becomes distance, caution, or even criticism. But remember this, the energy of purpose is not meant to please everyone. It's meant to awaken those who are ready. You don't need to hold on to those who aren't meant to walk with you. God is orchestrating this perfectly. He knows who must be part of your journey and who it's time to release. The energy of purpose is like a magnet. It pulls in aligned souls and repels what no longer fits. There may be moments when you wonder, am I really on the right path? Is this change truly real? But you only need to look at the signs around you to know. Doors are opening. Opportunities are appearing. Affirmations are coming from places you never expected. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. Because when you walk in purpose, God makes a way. I want you to picture a sunset. As the sun dips low, the sky bursts into radiant color. People stop walking. They pause, unable to ignore the beauty. They cannot name each hue. They can't explain why it moves them. They only know it touches something deep in their soul. You are that sky. When you live in purpose, your presence becomes a living canvas that makes people stop, wonder, and feel something far beyond reason. So if you are hearing these words and feel something awakening inside, know that you are not alone. There is a community of souls on this journey. People being stirred by God to rise, to walk in light and purpose. And if you want to keep feeding this light, I invite you to connect, like, share. Let this light reach more hearts, and subscribe so you don't miss the next steps in this journey. This is not just a click. This is an act of faith, A declaration that says, I am ready to walk in my purpose. You see, this calling does not come from man. It comes from the very path you were made to walk. And when you press that button, you are saying, I choose light. I choose to live with purpose. I choose to be led by divine energy. And I believe that when many hearts rise together, this light won't just fill a room, it can light up the world. So remember this, the light within you is the foundation. But the energy of purpose is the current. It will carry you through mountains, over rough roads, and lead you to the place the Creator has long prepared for you. Others may not understand, but they won't be able to ignore it. Because when a soul lives in purpose, its presence becomes the most powerful evidence that God is still at work and His light has never stopped shining. Do you see it now? When the light within you becomes clear, when the energy of purpose starts to flow outward, the first thing you receive isn't always applause. Yes, some will see you and feel uplifted, as if a fresh wind has blown through their soul. But others will feel discomfort, even unease. They don't understand why they suddenly feel small next to you, even though you've done nothing to diminish them. And here is the strange truth. Your transformation becomes a mirror reflecting their own insecurity. Humans have a habit they rarely admit to. They compare themselves to others. Even when unspoken, seeing someone walk with confidence stirs something within. They ask themselves, what about me? When they see you shining in a new light, they're forced to face the reality that they've let their dreams sleep too long, that they've settled for comfort, that they've accepted less than what they were called for. And that realization stirs their unrest. They won't say it. They won't admit it. But in their heart, a silent alarm goes off. I could have been different, but I didn't dare. Psalm 27:1 says, The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When God's light shines, fear dissolves. But for those not yet ready to lift their eyes to the source, your presence, a person who has dared to step into the light, confronts them with the very fear they've been avoiding. And their natural reaction isn't always joy. Sometimes it's caution. Sometimes it's distance. Maybe you've experienced this already. A close friend grows quiet around you. A colleague looks at you differently. Someone you've known for years suddenly feels distant, as if they no longer want to share in your joy. And you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? But the truth is, you've done nothing wrong. It's your light. It's your transformation. It's the way you now unknowingly shine into places they've kept hidden. And that light stirs discomfort, not because of anything you did, but simply because of who you are becoming. This may feel heavy, but it's all part of God's plan. Your transformation is not just for you. Sometimes, the light within you is sent to stir, to awaken, to make it impossible for others to keep living in their old comfort zones. You are like an alarm clock in the morning. Nobody really loves the sound, but it's necessary to wake up. Their first reaction may be irritation, but over time, that irritation may become the beginning of their own transformation. Of course, not everyone will respond positively. Some will avoid. Some will criticize. Some will try to label you. They'll say, you've become arrogant, that you've changed too much, that you're not who you used to be. But remember, they're not truly speaking about you. They're speaking about their own discomfort, trying to excuse their own delay by diminishing your growth. And that is not your burden to carry. The truth is, you are not responsible for making everyone comfortable with your light. That light wasn't given for you to hide. It wasn't meant to soothe other people's fear. It was given so you could walk in purpose, so you could become living proof of divine transformation. Yes, you might lose a few relationships. Yes, there may be lonely moments on this path. But remember, this is not loss, it is refinement. God is removing what can no longer journey with you to make room for what aligns with His path for you. Think of a mirror. When you stand in front of it, the mirror doesn't get to choose what to reflect. It simply reveals the truth. And that is your role in some people's lives. You become the mirror, reflecting truths they are not ready to face. It may make them angry. It may make them uncomfortable, but no one can deny that the image in the mirror is real. You are not responsible for what they do with that image. You only need to keep shining. One day, you'll look back and realize that their unease, their discomfort, became a turning point. They may never tell you. They may never thank you. But your light planted a seed. And in the right season, that seed will bloom. That is how God works quietly, patiently, but powerfully. So when you see someone step back, when you feel the distance from people who once felt close, don't rush to feel sad or blame yourself. Consider it part of the journey. You don't have to dim your light to keep them. You don't have to explain your growth to make them feel at ease. Just keep walking. Let the light lead. The ones meant for your journey will come, and they will know your light wasn't meant to intimidate, but to illuminate. And when the unease around you rises, remember Psalm 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? You do not need to fear criticism. You do not need to fear rejection. You do not need to fear walking alone, because God is your light, and when He is your fortress, you can walk in peace even when the world doesn't understand. Finally, hold this image in your heart. You are like a candle lit in the night. Some will be drawn to your light, seeking warmth. Others will shield their eyes, unable to bear the contrast between light and darkness. But still, the candle burns. And because it burns, the night is no longer the same. The light in you is not only a sign of your transformation, it is a call to other souls. Whether they respond with discomfort or delight, the light will do what it was born to do: shine and awaken. You've seen it now. The light within you is like a mirror. It doesn't just reflect insecurity. It reveals forgotten potential in others. When God begins to elevate you, the people around you don't just see your transformation. They see themselves who they could have become, but never dared to be. And that is why your presence shakes them. In the hearts of your friends, your coworkers, even your family, when they see you walking with confidence and light, they are reminded of the dreams they once carried. Dreams of a fulfilling life, of a career driven by passion, of a soul set free from fear. But over time, they set those dreams aside. They buried them. They chose the safer path. And now, watching you live out what they once longed for, they are forced to face the truth. I gave up too soon. But don't mistake this for jealousy. The truth goes deeper. They're not angry at you, they're angry at themselves. Your light becomes a mirror reflecting their delay, their compromises, and the fears that caused them to stop. They might respond with criticism, distance, or even silence, but every reaction is just the surface of an inner battle. Imagine standing beside a still lake. When the sunlight hits the water, the surface reflects the entire sky, the clouds, the color, the light, and anyone looking into that lake might suddenly see the lines on their face or the tiredness in their eyes that they hadn't noticed before. Your light is like that lake. It reflects what others have tried to ignore. Their reaction isn't because the water is wrong. It's because the truth is suddenly too clear. But here's the beauty. In the midst of those people, some souls will begin to wake up. They'll pause and ask, if they can change, maybe I can too. Your transformation becomes living proof that change is possible. You are evidence that when faith meets action, dreams that seemed lost can still be revived. And sometimes, all it takes is one mirror bright enough to awaken an entire generation. In this moment, I want you to remember a divine symbol, the number 222. Many call it the number of balance, of harmony, a reminder that you are not alone. When you see 222, it's more than digits. It's a sign from above that heaven is walking with you, that you are covered by divine guidance, even in your loneliest moments. 222 says, you are on the right path. Keep going. You are never walking alone. And what's amazing is how 222 aligns perfectly with the journey you're on. You've become a mirror, not only reflecting truth, but awakening potential. The change within you isn't just for you. It's a silent invitation to those who witness you. It tells them they too can rise. They too can move forward. They too can find the light that once faded in their hearts. If right now you feel you are in that season, the season where you are both being lit and becoming the light for others, then 222 is your confirmation. Don't keep it to yourself. Let 222 become your declaration of faith. Comment 222 below as your way of saying, I am not alone. I am in the right place, at the right time, and I choose to walk with the light. When you type those numbers, you're not just affirming your journey. You're connecting with a community of souls who are awakening too. You might think a number is just a simple symbol, but remember, in the divine realm, nothing is accidental. 222 isn't just 3 repeated digits. It's a reminder that balance is being restored in your life, that you are learning to walk between light and shadow, between confidence and humility, between personal joy and divine mission. And when you write it out, you're saying yes to that harmony. You're opening yourself to divine guidance along the way. Come back to the image of the mirror. Some will avoid it, some will turn away. But there will be those who stop, look deeply, and decide it's time to change. You are that invitation. You don't need to preach. You don't need to convince. You just need to live. Keep walking in your light and purpose. Your light will do the rest. And trust this, even when others respond with discomfort, the truth still reaches them. They may never say it out loud, but your light will leave a mark. Like a seed dropped into soil, no one knows when it will sprout. But in its season, it will rise. You cannot control when others choose to change, but you can be sure the light in you has already planted something within them. So do not be discouraged when some create distance. Don't feel disheartened when your growth causes discomfort in others. That's proof the light is working. That potential within them is being stirred. And remember, you are not walking alone. 222 is your sign. As you keep moving forward, aligned souls will find you. Those who are ready will walk beside you, and together, the light will spread stronger than ever before. Hold this image in your heart. You are a lighthouse standing tall in the night. One ship sees the light and finds safe harbor. Another turns away, choosing a different direction. But the light does not stop. It continues to shine. It does not waver for the sake of a few who reject it. It keeps doing what it was born to do, illuminate the path. And that is who you are. In this season, as the light within you grows brighter, as the energy of purpose flows more freely and begins to illuminate the potential in others, something new begins to happen. God doesn't just give you light to shine. He also covers you with a sacred layer of protection. It's not something everyone can see, but it's real. It's like a thin, invisible veil that surrounds your soul, keeping you safe in a world filled with chaos. Strangely, you can feel this shift in your everyday relationships. Some people will suddenly draw closer to you, as if they sense in you a place of peace. They want to be near you, to listen, to share. But others will slowly drift away, not because you've done anything wrong, but because they can no longer reach you the way they used to. They'll say you've changed. They'll claim you're distant, maybe even call you prideful. But the truth is something else entirely. They are simply no longer allowed full access to your soul. God is refining your circle, protecting the sacred work He's doing within you. At times, this will feel confusing. You'll ask yourself, why are the people who were once close to me slowly fading away? Why does growth seem to create distance? But remember, this is not rejection, it's refinement. God is ensuring that only those with pure intentions, open hearts, and a willingness to walk beside you can stay, because the light within you is now too precious to be wasted, and this journey is too important to be slowed down by unnecessary noise. Imagine yourself as a precious gem newly discovered. At first, it lies surrounded by dirt and rock, touched by many hands. But when the gem cutter begins to polish it, he places it carefully into a protective case to shield it from dust, to keep it safe from unworthy hands that might scratch its surface. You are that gem, and God is the master craftsman, shielding your soul not to isolate you, but to preserve your purity and strength for the right season of revelation. That's why, in this season, you may sense a mysterious covering around you. People look at you and know you've changed, but they can't fully explain it. They want to understand, but can't quite reach you. To them, you seem like a mystery familiar yet distant, and that leaves them puzzled. Some may call you mysterious, others may say you've become guarded. But the truth is, you are being protected. God does not allow everyone to read every page of your soul's story, because not everyone is equipped to treasure it. This protection also brings clarity to your relationships. You'll begin to see who truly belongs in your life right now. There will be those who feel right, who show up at the right time, who are not threatened by your light but inspired by it. They lift you up, encourage you, and walk with you. These are the ones God has allowed to stay. And then there are others who, as you move forward, slowly fade away. There's no argument, no drama, just distance. That's a sign they're no longer aligned with the path you're on. You don't need to cling to them. You don't need to grieve for long, because every departure is part of the purification process. If they're no longer with you, it's because they were not meant to walk with you to the destination. God is forming a new circle around you, not large, but a line, and you'll begin to see that this protection gives you strength. It helps you focus on what matters most, the mission He has placed within you. There will be moments when you feel lonely. Yes, this sacred armor doesn't always feel comfortable. It can make you feel separated, like you're walking alone. But remember, this loneliness isn't meant to weaken you. It's meant to strengthen you. It teaches you to lean completely on God. It helps you discern between His voice and the noise of the world. It gives you the stillness you need to hear more clearly and step more surely. If you're in this season now, you'll notice more quiet moments than before. Shallow conversations begin to fade. Surface-level connections slowly lose their grip. And in their place, you find moments of deep stillness where you hear God's voice clearer than ever. That's the purpose of this divine armor, to guard your heart from distractions, so you can focus fully on the true calling. So when someone tells you that you've changed, when they say you seem distant, smile gently, because you know this isn't coldness, it's sacredness. You're not closing your heart, you're letting God guard it. And when the right time comes, the light within you will shine more powerfully than ever before. Remember this, your soul is not meant for everyone to access. Your presence is not something everyone will understand. And that doesn't make you unloving. It makes you chosen. It's proof that you are in a critical season, one where God is preparing you for something greater. As we close this chapter, hold this image in your heart. You are like a warrior clothed in armor, but this armor doesn't weigh you down. It keeps you safe. It doesn't separate you from the world. It allows you to walk through the world without being wounded by invisible arrows. And when you know that armor wasn't made by your own hands, but was placed on you by God Himself, you can walk with peace, trusting that every step you take is divinely protected. When God places His divine armor over you, the world begins to see you differently. They no longer see just your light or feel the energy of your purpose. They begin to sense something deeper. Your beauty does not fit any mold they've known. It is not the kind of beauty measured by worldly standards. It doesn't live within society's boxes. It's not shaped by trends, age, or fleeting approval. This beauty cannot be painted on with makeup or defined by popular gaze. It is something else entirely, a beauty born from the soul. Some might say, "You look different." I don't know how to explain it, but there's something about you that draws me in. What they're witnessing is the expression of a reborn soul. This is what sets you apart, not because you try to be different, but because you've been touched and transformed from within. This kind of beauty cannot be copied, cannot be faked. It is one of a kind, because it comes from the hands of the one who created you. Psalm 139:14 says, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." These are not poetic words written in passing. They are truth spoken over you. You were designed with a beauty that surpasses definition, fearfully and wonderfully. Not because you are flawless, but because your presence reminds others of the Creator's majesty. When they see you, they know this is not a random creation. This is a masterpiece shaped by His hand. And that's what makes you unlike anyone else. While the world chases beauty that is redefined over and over, you carry a beauty that doesn't fade. It isn't attached to your appearance. It doesn't shrink with age. It doesn't vanish with time. You may grow older, your body may change, but the beauty of your soul becomes more vivid. Like a timeless painting, it grows in value, stirs deeper emotion with every year that passes. And the truth is, others can't explain why they're drawn to you. They may point to your presence, your confidence, the way you smile or listen, but in reality, these are just reflections of something deeper. What they're truly drawn to is soul-deep beauty, a beauty that needs no words, but is unmistakably felt. It's the quiet light in your eyes, the calm in your voice, the strength in your silence. But here's something you need to know. This beauty didn't come easily. It wasn't something you were born with in full. It was forged through trial, through tears, through nights spent wrestling in the dark. Like gold that only gleams after it's passed through fire, your soul has endured the flames of life and emerged radiant. People see the light now, but they don't know the cost. And that's what gives your beauty its weight. It isn't something that can be bought. It's the result of a soul refined, Think back to the moments when you fell to your knees, when you believed you could never rise again. It was in those moments that God quietly placed new pieces into your spirit, turning wounds into inlays, turning scars into the etched lines of a masterpiece. People see you now and call you beautiful, magnetic, but you know it's not just the outside they see. It's the light that shines from the times you were saved, from every moment you chose to rise instead of give up. Soul beauty has a power, it awakens others. When they encounter you, they don't just admire your light. They begin to ask, could I be beautiful like that too? Could there be something in me waiting to be released? And the answer is always yes. Because every person is made by the same creator. But not everyone allows their soul to be refined. You are living proof of what's possible when someone lets God shape their life. They become beautiful in a way that nothing can destroy. Still, don't be surprised if your beauty makes some people uncomfortable. This world is used to measuring worth by surface-level standards, and when they see someone shining without conforming, they're forced to question everything they've believed. Your beauty doesn't just challenge the concept of appearance, it challenges shallow living. It makes people stop and examine themselves, and that can be unsettling. But believe this, it's part of your purpose. The beauty of your soul wasn't meant to win trophies or applause. It was meant to be a sign in a world chasing illusions. You were created to remind people that real beauty cannot be bought, painted on, or faked. It must be born from a soul that has met the Creator. Keep this image in your heart. You are like a flower blooming in the desert. The desert isn't expecting beauty. It's dry, harsh, unkind. And that's exactly why the flower stands out. People passing by stop, stunned, wondering how something so radiant could grow in such a place. That is you, a blossom rising from barren soil. A witness that soul beauty can thrive even in the harshest environments. And if today you're asking yourself, am I really that beautiful? Remember Psalm 139-14. You were made fearfully, wonderfully, and intentionally. Nothing in you is accidental. Every detail of your personality, every scar in your soul, contributes to your one-of-a-kind beauty. You don't have to become someone else. You only need to become the version of yourself God originally designed. And when you live fully in that truth, your beauty will continue to bloom, a beauty that cannot fade, cannot be compared, and never needs explanation. The beauty of your soul doesn't stop at its quiet magnetism. It opens the door to a new reality. You begin to vibrate at a different frequency. Like an instrument finally tuned to the right pitch, every sound you release carries a new resonance, clearer, stronger, more aligned. And because of this tuning, you no longer match the old melodies. You begin to see this shift not only within yourself, but in every relationship, in the way the world responds to you. Where once you could easily blend into meaningless conversations, loud distractions, or relationships built on convenience and personal gain, now those things begin to feel heavy. You no longer find joy in empty words. You no longer feel connected to circles where the energy is driven by comparison, envy, or negativity. It's not because you look down on them. It's simply because you're no longer in rhythm with them. This is when you begin to experience what's called a natural separation. People, places, even old habits that were once so familiar begin to drift away. At first, it may feel strange, even painful, but you'll soon realize this is not loss. It's divine restructuring. God is lifting you out of lower vibrations so you can rise freely. Just like a bird cannot soar while its feet are tied, you cannot fly higher if you're still holding on to frequencies that no longer match your soul. Remember the feeling of walking into a crowded room. Sometimes the energy is so heavy it feels hard to breathe. Conversations revolve around fear, anxiety, judgment, and you just know you don't belong there anymore. But then, out of nowhere, you meet someone, exchange only a few words, and feel as if you've known them for years. That's resonance. Their frequency matches yours. When your soul elevates, it naturally attracts those vibrating at the same level. This is the sacred law of soul alignment. The truth is, this change isn't something you chose or forced. It's not like deciding to move cities or change careers. It's a soul level upgrade. As the light within you grows, it automatically emits a new wave, and anything not in harmony begins to fade. Separation doesn't come to hurt you. It comes to protect you. It keeps you from being pulled back down, so you can continue walking in the light. Still, be prepared, some won't understand this transformation. Some will say you've become distant. Some will claim you're not as fun or friendly as you used to be. But the truth is, you're not distant. You're just tuned to a different frequency. Like two radio stations, both exist. But if you're tuned to 101.1, you won't hear what's playing on 88.8. No one is wrong here. Each is simply choosing a different sound. In the silence, you begin to understand you're not being lost. You're being refined. The people who walk away are not punishment. They are protection. God knows who can journey with you into this new season and who would only hold you back. He knows who will harmonize with your spirit and who would dim your light. So as hard as it may be to watch them go, their departure is actually a gift. And here's the miracle: as some doors close, new ones open. You'll begin to meet new people, form new relationships, and attract new souls, each one vibrating with your rhythm. They're not just there to accompany you, they're there to amplify you, to resonate with your light, to multiply the energy. And when many souls gather at the same frequency, the collective power can move mountains like a symphony rising together, instead of a single instrument playing alone. Yes, you may miss those who've walked away, but see it like changing the strings on a guitar. The old strings once made music, but to play the new melody, you need fresh strings. Without that change, you wouldn't be able to release the sound God has written for your life. So if you're in the middle of this natural separation, know that you are not alone. This is the necessary process when a soul ascends. Don't cling to what's falling away. Open your heart to what is drawing near. Don't mourn the loss. Celebrate the space being made. Because God never removes anything without replacing it with something greater. Picture yourself as a radio tower, sending out a clear, powerful signal. Some people won't hear you anymore. They're tuned to a different channel. But others, the moment they align with your frequency, will hear your sound clearly and know, this is what I've been searching for. That is resonance. And that is how your light finds its true family. As we close this chapter, I want you to hold on to one truth. You are not called to match everyone. You are only called to remain faithful to the frequency God is raising you into. Let the separation happen. Let the circle shift. Let what no longer resonates fall away. Because ahead of you are souls who are waiting, and when you meet them, you will realize that every goodbye was preparing you for a deeper, stronger, and more divine connection. When you begin living at a new frequency, one thing is inevitable. Others will still try to hold on to the old version of you. They remember who you used to be, the hesitant one, the one who stumbled, the one held back by fear and limits. And in their minds, that's who you still are. What they don't realize is that you've been transformed. You've stepped into a new season. You've broken free from the chains that once confined your soul. The truth is, they can't fully see what's changed inside of you because their frame of reference is still stuck in the past. You'll notice this when they say things like, "You've changed, but I don't know if I can believe it," or "I liked the old you better." Some may even use your past against you, reminding you of your failures, your old patterns, your lowest moments, as if that defines who you are. But understand this, that is not truth. That is simply their unconscious effort to keep you in a familiar box, a version of you they feel more comfortable with. The reality is, your growth confuses them. They don't know where to place you in their minds anymore. They had grown used to a certain version of you, and now that you've outgrown it, they feel like they've lost control. They're faced with a choice: either accept who you've become or cling to who you were. Sadly, many choose the latter because it's easier. But you know the truth: you no longer belong to those old labels. You've stepped out of that box. You've removed the chains of your past. You don't have to prove that you've changed. Your journey is the proof. Every step forward, every choice you make, every ray of light shining from your soul, all of it speaks on your behalf. Remember this: God never looks at you through the lens of your past. He sees you in the fullness of who you are now and the greatness of who you are becoming. When He calls you, He's not calling the former version of you. He's calling the one He already sees, transformed, free, and filled with purpose. And because of that, the old labels no longer hold any power over you. You don't need to wear them. You don't need to fight them. Just keep walking, and in time, they will fall away, unable to cling to the radiance of your transformation. Right now, I want you to hold on to a sacred sign, 555. This is a prophetic number of great change, breakthrough, and multiplied grace. When it appears, it's a signal from heaven that you are at a turning point. You are no longer the old you. A new door is opening before you. 555 is the reminder that this change is not meant to break you, it's meant to set you free. It's not about losing, it's about multiplying. When you see 555, understand that God is not just shifting your surroundings, He is shifting you. You're being prepared for a new season, a season where the past cannot hold you, where labels lose their meaning, and where freedom and purpose become your reality. And if you feel that shift deep within, let this number become your declaration of faith. Comment 555 below as a bold statement. I'm ready for the change. I'm stepping out of old labels. I believe God is leading me into a new season, and I receive it by faith. When you write that number, you're not just affirming your journey, you're joining a community of souls who are also being transformed. 555 becomes an invisible thread connecting all those who are ready to walk into divine change. Picture a butterfly. Once, it was just a caterpillar, slow, crawling, confined in a cocoon. Everyone called it by that name. But when the time came, it broke through. It flew. The world may still call it caterpillar, but it knows it will never crawl again. It has wings now. That's who you are. You've been transformed to rise, and no one can force you to return to what you've already outgrown. The truth is, anyone who cannot see you with new eyes is no longer qualified to define you. You don't need to accept the names they gave you or live within the limits they created. You are defined by the Creator, the one who carved your name into the palm of His hand. And when He calls you by a new name, one untouched by the shadows of your past. Yes, the path may feel lonely at times. But remember, 555 is not just the number of change, it's the number of release. It reminds you that to soar, you must let go of what once held you down. Don't fear what leaves, because God is making room for something far greater. Let's close this chapter with a vision. You're standing at a crossroads. One path leads back to the past, where familiar labels wait. The other path leads into the unknown, glowing with light. And in the moment you choose to walk into that light, all of heaven rejoices with one clear message. 555 change, breakthrough, multiplied grace. When you step out of old labels, when you choose change and embrace your new season, something extraordinary begins to happen. God's favor becomes visible on your life. It's no longer a faint glimmer. It's like a spotlight shining directly on you, making it impossible to go unnoticed. You're not trying to stand out, but you do. You're not chasing recognition, yet recognition finds you. That is the power of favor, a presence no one can fake and no one can hide. This kind of favor isn't always easy to explain. People on the outside see doors opening, opportunities arriving, help showing up at just the right time. They'll say you're lucky. They'll think you're just having a good season. But you know this isn't luck, and it's not human orchestration. This is the hand of God moving in your life. This is what happens when your soul comes into alignment with His divine purpose. Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." This isn't just a poetic promise, it's a living truth in your life. When your joy is found in God, rather than in people's approval, He responds by unlocking dreams you once only dared to imagine. Unexpected doors open. New relationships form with people you never expected. Dead ends turn into divine detours that lead you to wider places. Think back on those recent moments when the impossible became effortlessly real. Maybe it was a job you didn't feel qualified for, yet the offer came to you. Maybe it was support that arrived just when you needed it most. Maybe a chance encounter led to a connection that changed everything. These aren't coincidences. This is favor, the quiet yet undeniable intervention of God woven into the fabric of your life. And favor doesn't just show up in what you receive. It shows up in who you become. People feel something steady in you, a quiet confidence, a joy that isn't shaken by circumstances. You carry the atmosphere of favor. When you walk into a room, things seem to align. Not because you're flashy, but because your presence speaks louder than words. Of course, not everyone will celebrate your favor. Some may feel confused. Some may even feel jealous. They'll ask, why does everything seem to work out for them? They'll compare. They'll question. But all it really does is highlight this truth: favor cannot be faked. It doesn't come from striving. It comes from the presence of God resting on your life. And you don't have to explain it. You don't have to defend it. Favor speaks for itself. Picture yourself as a lighthouse standing tall in the night. You don't have to force your light to shine, it simply does. Some ships will be drawn to your light and find safe harbor. Others may complain it's too bright. Still, the light keeps shining. That's what favor does. It keeps showing up, no matter how others respond. And here's the beautiful thing about favor, it multiplies what's already inside you. If you carry kindness, favor makes that kindness spread wider. If you carry creativity, favor turns it into a source of inspiration. If you carry patience, favor turns it into a strength that guides others. Favor doesn't make you someone else. It makes you the fullest version of who you were created to be. Even more, favor isn't just for you. It flows through you. Those who step into your circle begin to feel lifted. They may not understand why, but when they're near you, they feel hope again. They trust more. They believe more. That's why your favor becomes an invitation. It shows them what God can also do in their lives. Yes, favor makes you stand out. It puts you in places where people can't help but notice. But remember, this spotlight isn't to glorify you. It's to glorify God. You are the mirror, the vessel, the instrument in His hands. And when you stay rooted in humility, the favor will keep flowing stronger and deeper. Keep this image in your heart. You are a field of sunflowers. You don't struggle to find the light. You simply turn your face to the source. And by doing that, you become a radiant sight, one that causes others to stop, stare, and wonder. You're not trying to be seen, but your connection to the light makes you unforgettable. So embrace this visibility with faith and humility. Don't shrink back when people start to notice. Don't hide your light. Let favor do what it was meant to do, elevate you, guide you, and make you a living testimony of God's love and power. And if today you're seeing the signs of favor doors opening, unexpected joy, divine timing, know this is your confirmation. You are right where you're meant to be. When God's favor makes you stand out, people don't just notice you in the present, they begin to examine you through the lens of your past. And here lies a strange contradiction. They can't reconcile the strength you now carry with the person they once knew. In their memory, you are still the one who stumbled, who was weak, who lost your way. But right before their eyes, you stand firm, strong, more radiant than ever. They don't know how to bridge those two images, and that confusion becomes a haunting tension. Some will say, I miss the old you, the one who was awkward, the one who was unsure. Others may be more blunt. I can't believe how much you've changed. They see your power today, but in their memory, you are still fragments of past failures. Because of that, they find it impossible to marry the old and the new in their minds. What they don't see is that the strength you have now was not born overnight. It was forged in fire through nights of tears, silent battles no one witnessed. They don't see how many times you knelt in quiet prayer. They don't see all the times you rose after falling. They don't see the persistence behind the scenes, only the result. And because of that, they cannot understand the transformation. There is a paradox. The very failures of your past have become the foundation of your current strength. Your scars make your soul more radiant. Others only see ashes, but they do not know that God used those ashes to ignite a new flame. They thought you would remain broken, but now you stand tall and proud. That is the power of rebirth, a reality beyond human comprehension. You may have heard whispers behind your back. How could they become this person? They used to fail. But remember, God does not choose perfect people. He chooses those who have been weak, who have fallen, so that in their transformation, His power is revealed. You are living proof of that. You are strong, not because you never fell, but because you did. And yet you stood up again. Picture a ceramic pot. When it breaks, a craftsman might discard it, or might repair it with a precious material. In Japan, artists use gold to mend broken pottery kintsugi, and after restoration, the pot becomes more beautiful, more precious than before. Your soul is like that. Your cracks are not weaknesses anymore, but lines that make you radiant. Others see the fractures and say you have been broken, but they don't see the gold running through them, God's favor, your strength, divine power. This may bring loneliness. Not everyone will believe in your transformation. Many will try to hold you in the frame of your past because it's easier for them. But remember, you do not need to prove anything to them. You do not need to argue. You do not need explanations. Your presence, the power you carry, is your clearest testimony. If you feel misunderstood, See it as a sign that you really have changed. Because if you were still the same, no one would be talking. It's the difference that causes confusion. And that confusion is not a burden for you. It is proof of the work God is doing. Always remember, your power now isn't meant for comparison. It's meant as testimony. You are living proof that anyone can change, that the past does not define the future, that failure does not prevent rising. When people look at you, they may not accept immediately, but in their heart, a seed has been planted. If they can, perhaps I can too. Also know this, no one has the right to hold you in the old image. The past may have been the opening chapter, but it is not the whole story. God is writing new chapters, and you are living a version even your old self would scarcely recognize. Stand firm in that truth. Let us close this section with an image. An ancient oak standing alone in the field. People admire its strength, its vast canopy, but they forget its roots once survived storms, rain, lightning. They only see its mighty trunk and lush leaves, not how deeply its roots have grown to hold it firm. You are like that oak. Others see your strength now, but not the storms you endured. And that is why your existence is a miracle, a living proof that true strength isn't reconciled with the past, but transcends it. There is a truth you need to know. Your transformation is not only to make you happier, stronger, or to make you shine more. It carries a deeper purpose, becoming a sacred disruption in a world far too familiar with mediocrity. When God changes you, He rewrites not only your story, but the story of all who see you. You become living proof that the impossible can happen, that normalcy can be shattered by a call from above. You walk forward, and your presence becomes a spark to awaken those who sleep in old patterns. Like a drop falling on a still lake, creating ripples across the surface, you are the disruption that causes others to ask, why settle for less? Why compromise with smallness when I was made for a meaningful life? You don't need to preach. You don't need to speak much. Your life, your walk, your silence, all are enough to shake things. Psalm 25-14 says, "The secret of the Lord is for those who fear Him, and He will make His covenant known to them." When you live in this sacred disruption, you are in a land not everyone understands. God begins to share with you hidden things, purposes He has not revealed to many. Others may only see you as different. But the truth is, you are being entrusted with pieces of a larger picture. You carry within you a powerful silence, because you know not everything needs to be said. Much only needs to be lived and expressed in your presence. People look at you and sense something unexplainable. They call it energy, presence, mystery. But you know it is not mystery. You crafted it. Is the quietness of a soul that holds a covenant. When you walk in that silence, you carry a message beyond words. You become a living letter to the world, and those who encounter you read parts of it in their own way. Some will resist. They won't like the disruption. They want things to stay within old structures where they feel safe. Your presence makes it impossible to live as before, and that unsettles them. But there also will be those who see you and awaken. They feel a fresh wind, a new hope, a new possibility. You become evidence that there is another way, a different way of living a path of light and purpose. In this disruption, you learn the value of silence. Not silence born of weakness, but silence born of knowing that not everything needs explanation. Many times, your presence alone is the answer. When you enter a room, you don't need many words, because the light in you is working. When you quietly sit beside someone, they feel peace, as if a clear stream flows through the space. That is the unspoken voice, the voice of a soul touched by a sacred covenant. And this ties together your whole 12-part journey. You are called to be light, but not a light that only shines on you. You are called to be disruption, to break darkness, to unsettle complacency, to awaken potential, and to remind the world that God is still at work. You are proof that life is not merely a chain of days, but a journey shaped by a divine plan. If you feel the silence in you growing louder, if you sense disruption occurring around you, don't be confused. It is not loneliness. It is confirmation that you are in covenant. Keep walking, because your silence is echoing farther than 1,000 words. As you close this journey, I want you to remember, you are not walking alone. There are those who have heard, felt, seen the light in you, and their hearts beat in unison with yours. You are part of a community of the chosen, connected by light, transformation, by prophetic numbers that have appeared like seals along your way. And now, all is converging in one message. You have been, you are, and you will always be chosen. If this journey resonates in your heart, share it with someone who needs light. Leave a comment to connect with this community. And if you want to keep walking together, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next steps. This is not the end point, but the beginning of a new chapter. You have heard the call. You have entered the light. And now, you become the sacred disruption, a living proof that God is still at work. The world may not fully understand, but they will feel, and that is all that matters. Go, live, shine. For as Psalm 25:14 promised, the deepest secrets belong to those who fear Him, and you are one of them. Grateful that you chose to spend these moments in the light of this story. If it touched your soul, please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell so the next whisper of light may find its way back to you.